And that's how we want Instagram to feel. It's the living room. We're sitting down having drinks and chatting. We are not handing them business cards and listing presentations and telling them, like, I only am talking to you if you know someone looking to buy or sell, or if you yourself is looking to buy or sell right now. Like, that's what our content can tell people. It can literally tell people, do not come here unless this is for you. But then we lose the chance of them thinking of us when they do need a realtor.
How do I get more leads?
How do I stand out in my market?
Is it unprofessional to talk about my kids on Instagram?
Should I have one account or two?
Do I really need a personal brand as a real estate agent?
We are the Modern Agent Marketing Girls. We are 2 agents turned marketing experts who believe you can become the go-to real estate girl in your market, all because you are you. I'm Chelsea Peterson, founder and CEO of Modern Agent Social Club.
And I'm Kayla Fox, Modern Agent's content creator. Let us be your guide as we talk about what it means to market your real estate business the modern way.
So refill your favorite beverage, open your notes app, and get ready to build a business and a brand you're obsessed with. Let's go. Hello, marketing girls. Welcome back to another episode. Today is going to change your life. And I know that's a bold statement, but if you have ever felt like, gosh, I just want to figure out how to make my content work for me. If my content isn't getting me clients, why would I even post? Like, we're going to combat that today and figure out a formula that you can follow on repeat that's going to change the game for your content. So I want to start with a question. If there was a way to make your content more memorable so that people naturally thought of you when it was time to buy or sell, would you be interested in that? Because picture this, how good would it feel? You wake up in the morning, you still have your pajamas on, you get your frothy hot cup of Nespresso coffee. It's my coffee of choice. Even when we travel, I'm like, I wish I had my Nespresso machine. It's just so much better than regular coffee. Anyways, how would it feel to have that cup of coffee, enjoy it, read your 10 pages of a business book, which is one of the Modern Agent standards. And if you want to hear all of them, you can listen to episode 21 of the podcast. But if you had your morning, enjoyed it, then you go sit down at your laptop. Once you're ready to get the day going, you light a candle. Maybe you turn on some jazz music like we are living in a Nancy Meyers film style. But then when you open your laptop to check your email and your notifications, you see an email that says, hey, I told my friend to call you about selling her house. You see a notification saying you need to work with Amanda, and they tag you on Facebook. Or then you see a DM saying, I gave your name to my friend. And instead of constantly wondering, where's my next lead coming from? Or how do I convert all of these cold leads that I have? You have business coming to you. And that is the real reason why we create content. Most agents will think that content exists to educate about the market and to remind people that we sell real estate. So that leaves us with market updates, buyer tips. Here's my guide. Here's my listing. But the thing is people are not logging onto Instagram because they're looking to buy a house. They're logging on Instagram when they're watching Summer House on the couch at night before bed. They're logging on in line at Target while they're waiting for their turn. They are logging on to be entertained or to be inspired or to connect with someone, to see their kids and grandkids. Like, Instagram is not the place we go to find a house or to find even a real estate agent necessarily. We go to Zillow. We get a custom home search from a real estate agent. Like, we are not going on Instagram to find houses. So the reason a lot of the real estate content that maybe you feel like it looks so good, I look so professional, this makes me look amazing, but then it gets totally ignored. It gets completely scrolled right by. And you feel like, well, this is useful. Like, I'm sharing my listing, I'm marketing my listing, or I'm telling people what to do if they want to buy a house this summer. The problem is it's just entirely forgettable because most of the people that are seeing your content, they are not thinking about buying and selling today. So their brain tells them, like, this is not for you. Do not hold on to this. This is not for you. Do not hold on to this. So there are 2 ways we can approach our marketing. And the first way is like a hamster wheel. So a hamster wheel is you're doing all the things, but it feels like nothing is really happening. In fact, I looked up what is a description of a hamster wheel. An enclosed cylindrical exercise device designed for small rodents to run inside while remaining in a confined space. But then further down, it says, the term hamster wheel has become a popular idiom in human language. It is widely used to describe monotonous, unrewarding routines or situations where someone is endlessly busy without ever reaching an ultimate goal. That's the hamster wheel. So you might be busy with open houses every weekend, but ultimately they're not growing your business drastically where you can like stop doing them. You might be endlessly busy creating content, but it's not getting you anywhere. You might be paying for leads that you're then constantly chasing and you're very busy, but your business as a whole doesn't feel like it is not growing ultimately. So we're always trying to look for like another opportunity or what could we do instead? And we just stay stuck on this hamster wheel and our business doesn't grow. The other option is to market or approach your marketing more like a flywheel. And what I mean by a flywheel is if you are building a successful company, it is like pushing a massive heavy wheel where at first your efforts yield very little progress. However, by consistently applying effort in the right direction, you start to build momentum. And what happens is the momentum of all of your past work takes over and the wheel spins smoothly and quickly, making compounding growth much easier to sustain. So, why I'm talking about this is because creating content that is not just like the definition of good, but is actually memorable and gets you to be the agent people think of first, it's going to feel more like the flywheel route. Like at first, it's going to feel like a lot of effort. It's going to feel like some mental gymnastics. It's going to feel like, is this even working? Like, does this even matter? Do people even care? But eventually, the momentum that you build is going to compound, and it's going to compound in results like people are DMing you and telling their friend to call you and tagging you in a Facebook group. Like that is what happens when you create content that builds you a brand. And that's what we're talking about today. And content that builds you a brand is content that you can create while you're at date night, while you're at your kid's baseball game, while you're making dinner. That content that is actually your real life is the stuff that is going to stick in the brain of your ideal client and make them think like, I can't think of anyone but her to call. And they like you and want to at the same time. So let's talk about content formulas because we're talking about the content formula that will change your life today. Have you ever followed a recipe to make a cake or maybe to make a soup or a dip? You follow a recipe not because you don't know how to cook or because you have like no skills in the kitchen or because you're not creative. You follow a recipe because you want the outcome to be consistent. You want every time you bake that cake for it to turn out fluffy and delicious and not flat. Like you want it to be that same consistent outcome. And content formulas work the same way. They're just like a recipe. It isn't here to make you show up super robotically or to have your content be rigid. It is actually there to help you create the content people are going to remember consistently. So that brings me to our content formula. Our signature content formula at Modern Agent is the content some more. And in last week's episode, in episode 78, we actually talked about creating familiarity, which goes hand in hand with the content some more formula. So if you haven't listened to that, go back and listen to that after today. But we talked about how people trust what feels familiar and why the agent they see over and over again has an advantage over the agent they maybe have never heard of or they don't know anything about, and why becoming recognizable in your own local market matters so much more than trying to go viral. So if you were listening to that and you're thinking, okay, Chelsea, I get it. I understand that familiarity matters, but what do I actually post? How do I balance the real estate with my real life? How do I actually make it memorable? How do I put it into a piece of content that is going to show up in my feed and that people are going to see? Like, how does this all come together? So what we need to think about is that familiarity isn't going to be built just from one post. It's built from patterns and it's built from layers and people continuously seeing those patterns and those layers. So thinking things like places, your interests, pieces of your personality that they'll see over and over and over again until they start to feel like they know you. So the content some more. This is our signature framework, and now it's your signature framework. So instead of posting randomly about real estate and then randomly about your kids and then randomly about a listing, we are going to figure out how to layer everything together so it actually makes sense. So I'm going to break down the content some more for you, and I do have some visuals because we like visuals. If you're listening, just pretend you can hear this graham cracker cracking in half. So we're going to start with the graham cracker. The graham cracker, it holds everything together. It is the outsides of the s'more. It is completely required to create content that sticks because we don't want anyone to think, is she an influencer or is she a real estate agent? Or like, why is she posting about that? Real estate has to be part of the formula. And it's not that we ever don't want you to post about real estate. We just want you to post about it in a different way than what you were previously taught or how you've consumed it or how you've seen other agents do it. So the graham cracker part, like graham crackers alone, they're kind of dry. So is real estate content, right? Like nobody wants to eat a whole sleeve of graham crackers. My son might argue that, but most people don't want to eat a whole sleeve of graham crackers because their mouth will get dry. They'll need water. They need something to go with it. Like that's why s'mores exist, right? So your graham cracker would be like if all you shared were the listings, the market updates, here's my buyer guide, here's a seller tip. Like it just feels exhausting to the person consuming it because like we said, most of the time they aren't even thinking about buying or selling. So they're just like, this is not for me, right? So that's where we add in chocolate. The chocolate is part of the s'more because the chocolate is where things start to get a little more melty. It kind of balances out the dry graham cracker, and our chocolate is crucial to this formula because chocolate represents local. It represents where you live, where you sell real estate, the area you want to be known for. So if you're talking about neighborhoods in your content, making sure that they're all part of the same area. Like we don't need to be the agent for everyone. Last week I talked about our member Kaylin who went from marketing herself as an Austin, Texas agent to a specific suburb and her account completely took off and the results followed. So we don't need to serve everyone. We don't need to be for everyone. Otherwise we're going to be for no one. We won't be recognizable to anyone. So when we think about area and location, weaving it into all of your content so people know this is where she sells real estate, this is where she lives. But also, if you don't have it in your content, you're literally telling the algorithm, do not show this to people who live where I help people buy and sell houses. That's what it's doing. How silly, right? So simply adding the chocolate is adding your local area. So this could be things like neighborhoods that you talk about are in the same area. It could be a farmer's market, the coffee shop, where you actually like to go in your area, not everywhere, not a list of every local event, not every town's summer bucket list, like your area. And there are different ways you could think about this. You could say like the greater Milwaukee area. That's pretty broad still. You could also say something like in and around Lake Country. Like you have to think about what do people call where you are, and then you can identify what you want that to be. But this has to be part of your content because it's literally telling Instagram without you doing any additional work, please show this to people who are local to me. You're not trying to reach everybody. You are not selling a $20 t-shirt. You are trying to reach your local community. You are a local agent. So that is where the chocolate comes in. Lastly, we have the marshmallow, my favorite part. Arguably the stickiest ingredient in the content formula, literally and figuratively. This is where your content will start to stick in people's brains the most. So this is the sticky part, the memorable part, the part that someone goes to dinner with a friend and somehow your name comes up because of that sticky marshmallow they saw in your content. So this goes into things like what parts of your real life do you want to bring into your brand that are going to stick in people's brains. So it could be your love of book club. It could be the Diet Coke you're always drinking. It could be that you're wearing a bright pink top in a lot of your videos, or bright pink in general, pink lipstick. It could be your daily dog walk. It could be gardening, cooking, your kids' baseball games. It could be your Bravo shows. It could be a couple of those things too. We don't need a million. We want a select few that let people in enough that they're going to think, oh my gosh, I feel like I know her, or I feel like I'm right there with her. I feel like if we sat down, I know exactly what we talk about. You're creating that effect for everyone local to you and your sphere. Even if your sphere does know you, you're giving them more opportunity to think of like, oh, Chelsea, the agent who watches Bravo. Oh, Sarah, the agent who loves to cook. Oh, Cassie, the agent who loves to garden. Like that's how it will work. So I'm going to give you two examples of agents and how this looks differently. So agent number one, let's call her Kate.
She does just mostly post her listings, her buyer and seller guides, a couple market updates, once in a while, like a graphic with her picture behind it that talks about the market or about interest rates or maybe even like different neighborhoods. The content's good, it looks really good, but there's no connection in it. Like if you think about those posts I just listed out, what conversations could those lead to? So if she's posting about her listing, maybe it happens to be an adorable listing. Like it is absolutely Nancy Meyer's house style dream house. And people are like, oh my gosh, it is so cute. I love it. But in general, most of our listings aren't like that. So like what would someone say to that? If someone's interested in buying or selling today, they might be like, oh, that happens to be in this area that I'm in. This happens to whatever. And maybe they comment, but that's going to be very, very rare. Now, it doesn't mean you don't ever post about your listings. It just means we don't want to just have our feed be a feed full of listings. That belongs on a website. It belongs on Zillow, belongs on your agent website. It does not belong on Instagram. People are not coming on Instagram to look for houses. And the chances of that listing being in the same location where the person that happens to stumble upon it would be interested is just so far-fetched. Like it's not going to happen, right? Maybe there's a 1% chance, but still. The point is, it's not really going to lead to many conversations. People might think like, oh, Sarah is doing great at real estate. Look at her listings. Look at her go. They might support you in like your posts, right? It's not really going to lead it to anything beyond that. So there's really probably going to be no conversation that comes beyond that or connection that comes beyond that. No memorability for you. If you post a seller guide, same thing. Like where would that lead as far as a conversation goes? Maybe someone who sees it thinks like, oh, I could probably use that. They probably don't engage though. One thing you will notice if you start paying attention is when a post is really heavy hitting on trying to convert someone, like, hey, I'm talking to you sellers in this town. This is for you. People are very afraid to engage because they don't want to then be like followed around. Like, hey, do you want to book a listing consultation with me? Like, hey, let's take that next step. Hey, how's it going? Like they don't want to be like harassed. And that sounds dramatic, but that is the case. You instantly see it and you're like, right, your radar goes up in your brain like, oh no, don't go there. Don't go down that road. So we tend to ignore things like that. Not that we ever won't need them or we never can post about a seller guide, but we can't lead with it. It can't be the only thing that our content is about, or there's going to be very few people even looking at your content very like near down the road. So when you think about all those pieces of content, even a market update, like let's say you have a market update, a lot of times they're very industry jargon heavy and they don't make a lot of sense to the general consumer. And so again, it's another thing like, oh, she's a realtor, but I don't need this. Scroll by it. You're not living rent free in their head. You're not sticking in their brain. Whereas agent number 2, this is the agent who creates content that starts conversations and creates content that sticks. So she's talking about real estate, but she's also maybe wearing bright pink and holding a McDonald's Diet Coke. Or she's talking about the book she just read for book club and it's on the front seat of her car with the rest of her work things. She might have a picture of herself that isn't just like a professional headshot, but maybe she's wearing like whatever she wore to her son's football game. And then she has her cute water bottle with her. Those types of content create conversation because people have more to say. They might say like, where did you get that shirt? Or my son's in baseball too. What are you reading? My book club just read this. Have you read this author? What did you think of that one? Now I want a Diet Coke. McDonald's Diet Coke really is the best. It's this like natural conversation starter that doesn't put someone in a territory where they feel like, someone might start selling to me if I say something. It's very natural. It's just like how you would act if you were hanging out with people at a party. And that's how we want Instagram to feel. It's the living room. We're sitting down having drinks and chatting. We are not handing them business cards and listing presentations and telling them, like, I only am talking to you if you know someone looking to buy or sell, or if you yourself is looking to buy or sell right now. Like, that's what our content can tell people. It can literally tell people, do not come here unless this is for you. But then we lose the chance of them thinking of us when they do need a realtor or when they do talk to their neighbor who's about to list their house.
We talk about personal branding all the time, but maybe that sounds complicated. But what if I told you you could have a personal brand by Friday?
We're giving you a simple week-long plan with clear action steps to follow Monday through Friday, so by the end of the week, you have everything you need to start standing out in your market.
Click the link in the show notes to grab your Personal Brand by Friday guide so you can get started today.
So When you create the content that starts the conversations, you're suddenly living rent free in their brain. They pass a local McDonald's and they're like, oh my gosh, there's, Amanda, like, or not there's Amanda. Maybe you are there. Maybe you're in the drive through getting another one. But they think like, oh, Amanda, Diet Coke, McDonald's. Like it starts to connect. In fact, speaking of McDonald's, Diet Coke, when I first met one of our friends, now wives, so now she's my friend too. But at the time when they first started dating and we met her, she said, like, I don't drink coffee. I'm like, how do you get up in the morning? And she's like, I drink a McDonald's Diet Coke. In fact, they just give me a free refill every morning when I drive through the drive-through with my same cup. I'm like, that's insane. So still to this day, this was probably 11 years ago. Still to this day, when I think of McDonald's Diet Coke, I think of her. Like it just sticks. It's so simple. And going back to that flywheel example, it's why in the beginning it feels hard because you're like, but what's the point of this? Like, why would someone hire me because I'm posting about my Diet Coke on the way to show houses? Like, it doesn't make sense, but it does make sense when you put the whole formula together because you have the content that sticks in their brain. You have the chocolate that is telling people where you live and sell real estate. And then you have the graham cracker, which is making sure people know, hey, I'm the local realtor. Like you're positioning yourself to be memorable, to be the expert, and to be local. That is what this formula does. And when done over time, eventually it starts working for you. Your results compound, and suddenly you are building a business with consistent referrals, consistent clients, no more chasing, no more open houses on Saturdays unless it's for your own listing, and you have this amazing business. But it doesn't happen the first time you do it. It doesn't happen after a week. It happens when you continuously do the work in the beginning, and then it builds over time. So what is this actually doing? What is this actually creating? Because the goal isn't just engagement. Like, yes, starting conversations is great. But when you start a conversation with someone, they're even more likely to then remember you. You may even show up and have no one reach out to you. They're consuming your content, but you're not actually hearing from them that you are. Like this happens all the time with our membership. It happened to me all the time as a real estate agent. I was like, I didn't even know you followed me. Like, but they're watching, they're seeing. It's like every post is this micro audition of here's what it's like to work with me. Here's something that we might connect over. And they might be connecting mentally, but they don't say anything. How many pieces of content do you see in a day that you don't say anything to? You don't like it, you don't comment on it, you don't do anything with it. You're just like, oh, funny, or like, I love that, or like, I love seeing her stories, but you don't ever engage. Like that's very normal in this day of Instagram. So the goal is purely to be memorable, to be sticky, to have people that you become the go-to for because they can't think of anyone else and they like you. So let's talk about some examples before we go, because when we actually apply this, then it makes a lot more sense. And also just know that this way of creating content, it's a skill. And the more you practice it, the better you're going to get. In fact, I just got a DM from one of our members before I started the podcast. And she said, I went face to cam and I did not die. And I first laughed because that's hilarious. And no, she did not. And then I clicked on her story to watch it. She nailed the content some more. She said, if there's one thing to know about me, it's that if I pass a farmer's market on my way home from a showing, I'm going to go. And then she proceeded to share what she got from the farmer's market, that she had this grilled cheese with prosciutto that was delicious. And she got her face on camera doing it. And it covered all the things. It covered the real estate, it covered where she was, it covered the farmer's market, the memorable sticky stuff. And that's where the magic is. That's where the magic lies, when you can put that on repeat. And now people are thinking of you in all of these ways, all of these contexts. So here's an example. Let's say there's a post that says, how to prep your home for sale this summer without losing your mind. It's actually kind of a cute hook, right? Without losing your mind. But it's also specific to summer. We're missing the chocolate, the location, and we're missing the marshmallow, the sticky part. So it's good. It's useful. The picture is just a kitchen. Like it's a cute kitchen, right? So it looks good. The font is nice and everything looks good, but it's forgettable. So let's put some more filter over it. So this might look something like let's say it's our member who was in the DMs. How to prep your home for sale and still make it to the Saturday morning farmer's market in Charleston. Now you're specific to something that you love, the farmer's market. You have your location, Charleston. And the things people can now talk to you about go so far beyond just reaching a seller, but now they could ask you about what farmer's market is that? Or is that one on Saturdays? Or
Do they do that one in the winter too? What flowers did you buy? How was the grilled cheese? Did you try the coffee truck there? It could be what you're wearing. Like, what a cute outfit to wear to the farmer's market. Where did you get those linen pants? And then, of course, the location. Like, people who are also in Charleston are going to see that piece of content because you're telling the algorithm this is for people in Charleston. So you're not just hitting random people who see your random post about real estate, or even worse, absolutely no one, right? And real estate. The post is about real estate, but it has the other ingredients of the s'more to make it sticky, to make it melty, and to make the graham cracker taste better. Okay, let's do one more example. How Montauk moms prep their homes for sale and still make time for taking the kids to South Lake Beach. Again, the conversations become, oh my gosh, my kids are the same age. What stroller is that? Have you ever gone on that walking trail, like on the way in? Did you know there's an ice cream shop right outside of it? Or like we always get ice cream there. Motherhood and real estate. There are so many points of conversation and stickiness, memorability in that post. And if we just led with how moms, not even moms, how to prep your home for sale in South Lake Beach or in Montauk. I'm sorry. I looked up what beaches are in Montauk to come up with that. I really am into Bravo shows like Southern Charm, Summer House. So like I'm using examples from there. Anyways, how much more engaging, whether someone physically comments or in their head remembers it, than if you just said how Montauk moms prep their home for sale. You still have the Montauk and you have the graham cracker of real estate, but you're missing all the sticky stuff, all the good stuff. And it's not like you're making this whole post about like, I use the Zoe stroller and I am wearing New Balance tennis shoes and I got my outfit from Aloe Yoga. Like, you're not an influencer. Like, if someone does ask you, great. That's not the point. The point is you're creating a lot more points of connection in a post about real estate, that you're still positioning yourself as the expert, but you're showing up as a human. Like, people just want to connect with humans. We don't want to connect with businesses. We don't care about businesses. No one's logging onto Instagram to figure out what businesses could I support today. But it happens naturally when we consume content that we feel like we relate to and we connect with and that we feel seen in. So, do you see how this all is so much bigger than hooks, for example? Every guru is teaching hooks. Hooks do matter, but hooks don't create referrals. Hooks don't create sticky content. Them remembering you creates referrals. Recognition creates more referrals and clients. Connection results in more referrals and clients. People are going to hire and recommend the agent that they like and remember and trust. So you're probably wondering, okay, where do I put all of this? Like, do I put it in my stories? Does it go in my feed? What about Facebook? What about like MySpace? I'm kidding. But the answer is yes. Yes, 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 yes. You can put the content some more to work anywhere, on Facebook, on either stories, on a business account, on a personal account, on just pick one and lead with it. On YouTube, if you do YouTube videos, bring your McDonald's Diet Coke in the video. If you're on LinkedIn, always wear a shade of pink or whatever your color is, or wear the pink lipstick. If you are on TikTok, then always record in your car and have your go-to beverage in the cup holder, like, or be listening to a podcast or talking about like what book you read for book club. Like, yes, it goes everywhere. There is not a situation that you could come up with and tell me that I would say, no, don't do that there. This is only for Instagram. This is not only for Instagram. If you are creating content and you want that content to make you more money ultimately in the form of clients and referrals, then this content some more formula needs to be applied everywhere. So before you create your next piece of content, ask yourself, what is the graham cracker? What is the chocolate? And what is the marshmallow? Am I just sharing information, or am I creating something that someone will remember down the road? Because the agents who win over the next decade, they're not going to be the ones that create the most content or have the most professional looking graphics. They're going to be the agents people think of first. That's it. So this is the formula you need to create those consistent results over time. And I hope that you have so much fun doing it, because this way of marketing is so much easier. It aligns with your own real life. You're not like going to sit in Canva for hours designing graphics about 3 steps to buying and selling. You are documenting your life. You're sharing from your point of view, your perspective, where you live,
how you sell real estate. Like, this is so uniquely you. It is only through your lens that this will work. And it will become so easy the more you repeat it and the more you work on building this skill. And remember, before we get stronger, working out, we get weaker. And the same is true for any new skill. So it might feel really hard at first. You might have some content where like, that actually was terrible. Like, it's okay. Like, keep trying, keep going, and keep using that content some more. And we will see you next Tuesday. I'm so glad we got to hang out today. If you're as sad as I am that our time is up, I've got good news. There are a couple of different ways we can keep the conversation going.
First, follow us on Instagram at Modern Agent Marketing Girls and introduce yourself in the DMs. Also, we always have a free Modern Agent resource available, so check out today's show notes for the goods.
And finally, hang out with other go-to real estate girls like you and finally create a marketing plan that works when you join Modern Agent Social Club. All the details are in today's notes.
XOXO, the Marketing Girls.